So it's Oscar Sunday. You're having an Oscar party with your friends because normal people do that other than just me, right? Right? I'm not the only person. And you're doing a ballot and you want to win your ballot and you haven't seen all the movies. I'm not saying because I have seen all the movies that I have a better grasp on things, because I really don't. I will say that I have won my group of friends Oscar ballot pretty much every single year because of the system that I use to make my picks. So if you want to know what I want to win, go check out my last video on here, because I posted a video full of all the movies that I think should win the actual Oscars. Now, I am not an Oscar voter, unfortunately. And if I was, I would probably get kicked out of the Academy because I do not agree with them more often than not. Sometimes especially on the bigger awards, I think I will occasionally agree with them. But in general, I have my own understanding of what I think a good movie is. Right or wrong, that's my opinion. But this video is the video that you want to watch if you want to win your ballot. So without further ado, let's get started. So there are 23 Oscar categories. There'll be 24 next year because there's a casting award. I think they need to add an ensemble award, like ensemble acting for a group of actors, because I think that has been missed out on horribly over the years. And casting is kind of the same. I'm not going to take that away, but I don't know. Anyways, let's really get started. So for Best Picture, there are, what are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I thought so. There are 10 films up for Best Picture. That would be American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. Or in my case, The Zone of Disinterest. The zone I am not interested in. You will see that my distaste of that in my last video. I just didn't like it. It's not that I thought it was a terrible movie. It's just I feel like I've seen it more times than I would possibly care to see. Maybe it's just the content's rough. I don't know. Anyways, for Best Picture, I pick for my official picks Oppenheimer. Not a big surprise, I know. I promise I get a little bit better going on down the road. Next up, I have Director. We have Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, and Justin Treat for Anatomy of a Fall. I'm going with Christopher Nolan because I think that's the way they're going to go. I think they're going to go back to the Best Picture, Best Director being the same movie. Not super interesting, but for Best Actress in a leading role, there's Annette Bening, Lily Gladstone, Sandra Hüller, Carey Mulligan, and Emma Stone. And this is probably the race that is closest to a coin flip, in my opinion. There are two people that are possibly going to win this. That is Emma Stone or Lily Gladstone. I personally believe that Lily Gladstone is going to edge out Emma Stone just by a hair. I mean, we never see what the final votes are, but I think Lily Gladstone is going to take home this award at the end of the night. For Best Actor in a Support or a Leading Role, we have Bradley Cooper, Coleman Domingo, Paul Giamatti, Cillian Murphy, and Jeffrey Wright. And I think the actor in a leading role is going to go to Cillian Murphy. And like I said, no huge surprises. It's not until we get into some of the other ones that I veer a little bit off. There's a lot of people saying Emma Stone's going to win Best Actress, and I think it's going to be Lily Gladstone. Best Actress in a Supporting Role, we have Emily Blunt, Danielle Brooks, America Fiera, Jodie Foster, and Davina Joy Randolph. And I believe the Academy is going to award Devine Joy Randolph with the Oscar for this. I don't see any possibility otherwise. Like, that is possibly one of the biggest locks of the year, if it wasn't for Best Supporting Actor in a leading or in a supporting role. That category has Sterling K. Brown, Robert De Niro, Robert Downey Jr., Ryan Gosling, and Mark Ruffalo. And to no surprise of anybody, Robert Downey Jr. is going to take it. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind whatsoever. And I think he deserves it. I think he gave a really good performance. And like I said in my last video, I think he silenced a lot of the people who, said he was a one-trick pony when he came back to acting and with the Iron Man thing. So, yeah. Adapted and original screenplay. So we'll go to adapted first. We have American Fiction, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and again, The Zone of Interest. And I can't see a world where they don't award this to American Fiction. I just think, first and foremost, I don't have an issue with this at all. I picked Poor Things just because I liked Poor Things better. My picks are sometimes more based on who I like versus who I think genuinely deserves it. But, so yeah, I think American Fiction is just going to take it. And that's okay, because I think it was a good original idea and it was fun. I guess by definition, it wasn't an original idea, but it was fun / dramatic. It was intense, but lighthearted at the same time. I get it. So for original screenplay, we have Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May, December, and Past Lives. And I would have given, did I say Past Lives? I'm sorry. I gave Poor Things adapted screenplay. I'm giving Past Lives original screenplay, but I think Anatomy of a Fall is going to win, which is ironic because Anatomy of a Fall ended up being one of my favorite movies of the year, even though I'm not giving it this in the awards that I think I would like to win. In the awards that I think will win, it is going to go to Anatomy of a Fall. And I promise the ramblings will make more sense because I am going to put a picture of each movie here just so you have a visual representation of the actual movie. So you're not like, Chris, what the hell are you talking about? For cinematography, we have El Conde, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. And without question, I think Oppenheimer is going to get it. And I don't necessarily disagree. There are some issues with the cinematography, specifically in some of the shadow work that is done in different things. It doesn't really play out the way that it's supposed to. They're not falling where they're supposed to. I didn't notice this, but once somebody pointed it out to me, it was glaringly obvious. For costume design, this is going to be a tough one. So we've got Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Now, I discussed on my live last week with some friends of mine that I don't like giving costume design to real world costumes, like period pieces. And that would include Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, and I guess Oppenheimer. Like Oppenheimer, they just wore suits. And I mean, I'm not taking away from the credit that they deserve for creating those costumes, but it's just not as special. I believe, and I picked Poor Things last week, but I do think Barbie should win it. You'll see later on where I kind of disagree somewhere else. Both costume design and production design are kind of flipped in my opinion, but either way, we'll see. So I think Barbie's going to win it. In film editing, we have Anatomy of the Fall, The Holdovers, Killers of Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. And as I've mentioned before, film editing is probably my weakest category. I understand what film editing is. I know a good edit from a bad edit, but to put these movies up against each other and say, hey, that movie has better editing than that movie is really hard. I mean, the film editing goes into a broader category, but I believe Oppenheimer is going to end up winning it. This category, in my opinion, is 100% a lock as well. Makeup and hair design. We have Golda, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Society of the Snow. And I think Maestro should win it. If you haven't watched the movie, I know a lot of people are trashing it because it's boring or whatever. You can say what you want about the movie, but man, Bradley Cooper looked that role 100%. Like, after the fact, I like to go on and Google the actors that are in these movies versus the real characters. Just like, what did Lady Gaga play? It was a couple years ago, and people were trashing her, saying that she didn't do a good job. But man, her accent was perfect on the spot. Either way, I'll think of it, at the worst possible time. I like to do these videos in one solid thing, maybe with a cut or two. But for production design, we have Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. I feel like Barbie should have won, or should win this. I guess I don't know yet, but I think it's going to go to Poor Things. And I don't hate that pick. Poor Things was a very visually arresting, very pretty movie. I just kind of feel that as a larger, like, I like how they took like the Barbie dream house and that whole community and shrunk it down, or expanded, I guess, not shrunk it down, and made it a livable world. And I love how they took like the shower with no water and the condiments, everything was just, there were even lines going down certain condiments from like the molding process. It looked really, I liked the production design. For best score, we've got American Fiction, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. The more I'm looking at this, there weren't a lot of variety. And, Indiana Jones is obviously an outlier here, but either way, I think Oppenheimer's going to win it, and for good reason. I mean, it's a very solid score. For best song, I think this was easily probably the weakest year in best song that I can possibly remember. Like, it was, the Academy always suffers in best song. Like, they always struggle. There were 2 songs nominated for Barbie, and I like the one that I'm going to pick, but there's another song in Barbie that I think I personally liked even better. Again, I don't get a say in this. So we have It Never Went Away, I'm Just Ken, What Was I Made For, The Fire Inside, and Wazazi, A Song for My People. I believe Billie Eilish is going to win it with What Was I Made For. And I think that's deserving out of that group. I don't dislike a lot of the other ones, but then we have sound editing. We've got The Creator, Maestro, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, Oppenheimer, and The Zone of Interest. I believe Oppenheimer's going to win it. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of discussion whether or not they should win it. I just think that, Oppenheimer's going to win it. For visual effects, we have The Creator, Godzilla -1, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, and Napoleon. I believe they're going to give it to Godzilla -1, but I could see it going other ways. I mean, both The Creator and Mission Impossible, I think, are right there, but I think Godzilla -1 is going to end up taking it. For animated feature, we have The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, which was probably one of the shock of the years for me, Robot Dreams, which I also adored, Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse, and I think Spider-Man is going to win it. I think it's too popular. I think that if any of these other ones won it without, it's weird. Elemental, just traditionally in a regular year, I would have probably gone with Elemental, but it has absolutely no support. And I think that's a good thing. I don't think that Disney and Pixar need to win that category every single year. And documentary feature, we have 20 Days in Mariupol, Bobby Wine, The People's President, The Eternal Memory, Four Daughters, and To Kill a Tiger. And I know I mentioned it before, but man, if there's a lock, this is the one. Like, if you guys are going to pick one on your ballot and you have to win it, like if it's weighted or something, 20 Days in Mariupol needs to be that lock. Like, it's going to win. It's really a tough year to be any documentary feature because I just don't think there's a chance. This is another lock, and I don't get it, but this for international feature, we have Lo Capitano, or IO. I'm still not 100% sure. Perfect Days, Society of the Snow, The Teacher's Lounge, and The Zone of Interest. And without question, The Zone of Interest is going to win, and I don't get it. Maybe I should turn in my film card because it just doesn't make sense to me. Now into the three categories that people don't even usually know exist, which is unfortunate because there is oftentimes amazing entries in there. So first up, we're going to do animated short film, which has Letter to a Pig, 95 Senses, Our Uniform, Pachyderm, and War is Over. And I believe War is Over is just going to win it. I wasn't a huge fan. I don't like the fact that they used Unreal Engine and that Weta Design was backing it and working on it. I don't feel like that's in the heart of what that category is, but clearly, my opinion doesn't matter. So, documentary short, we have the ABCs of book banning, The Barber of Little Rock, Island in Between, The Last Repair Shop, and 9A and WIPO. I butcher that name every time. The ABCs of book banning has to win. Like, it would just be weird if it didn't. Last but certainly not least, our 23rd category, the live action short film. We have The After, Invincible, Night of Fortune, Red, White, and Blue, and The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. And I think The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar will win and should win. And Wes Anderson just did an amazing job. Anyways, that's it. That's 23 categories. And like I said, I'll have the posters here, so it's easy for you guys to be like, okay, boom, that category, that category, that category, and so on. But I'm curious what you guys think. Is there anything that you disagree with? Anything that you saw me say and you're like, whoa, Chris, what are you thinking? Like, let me know in the comments. Let me know how you guys do on your Oscar ballots. If you're going to watch the Oscars, if you play along, anything you want to let me know. I love having conversations on these topics. And if you want to do the like, follow, comment, ring the bell, all that stuff, the more of that you guys do, the more followers I get, the bigger my platform is, the more goodies I get, and the more stuff I get to do for you guys. So thank you as always. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.